Well, Durant and Kyrie may be two of the best offensive players ever, but Adam Jones still ranking Jayson Tatum ahead of Kyrie on his Celtics Nets player power rankings. Say that a couple of times fast. Durant, of course, number one. Jaylen Brown coming in fourth. Ben Simmons, who reportedly could return as early as Game 4, is fifth. More on him in a bit. Rob Williams would be sixth, but Ime Udoka today sounding like someone not expecting his big man to be back in the first round. All right, Adam, so why do you say that Jayson Tatum has jumped over Kyrie? Because all you've done is like wax poetic about Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant.
I think the reason why is because Tatum has had a more complete season, in fairness, and I think he's also a better defensive player. So in a tiebreaker scenario, I would lean defense. I'm not the biggest believer or person that cares about defense all that much, quite frankly. But Tatum's been there all year. He's a better defensive player. I just think a case can be made that Kyrie is still more efficient scorer this year, more points per game, more assists per game, fewer turnovers. Like, I don't think there's a big gap between those two, but I would lean Tatum because you can't completely ignore defense, at least in that tiebreaker scenario.
There is a huge gap between those players. Jayson Tatum has elevated to probably a top 5 player in the league. He will finish in the top 5 in MVP voting, and you wouldn't have Kyrie Irving anywhere near there. That's why he will not spot on an all-NBA team. And the defensive gap is huge. The offense is closing. I do agree, like, Kyrie's fun to watch, but like efficiency-wise and what he means to the team, on-off differential, like Jayson Tatum kills him in all those categories. It is Durant, Jayson Tatum chasing, then a big gap, and we can argue whether Jaylen and Kyrie have a more impactful. I think your argument would be better suited for Brown versus Kyrie.
Well, look, I mean, if you're bringing up MVP, of course, Kyrie played 29 games. He's not going to win the MVP in a year he plays 29 games. But I think the gap, again, between Tatum and Kyrie is very, very close. I think it's a big drop-off to Jaylen Brown. But look, I've doubted Jaylen Brown his whole career. I didn't like the pick on draft night. I was there booing with everybody else when the Celtics took him. So what do I know? Jaylen Brown could prove me wrong again. But that's how I feel going into the series. I think Kyrie's a little underrated, a lot underrated in this room, and a little underrated in this whole city.
Just watch
Jones came out of the room.
When they pick on him on defensively, and just tell me how valuable he is when every time down the court they try to put him in a pick and roll or target his size or all that. Like, look, I live this. I know how hard it was for Brad Stevens to try to mask it. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out.